Well, thanks everyone for joining today. We'll go ahead and get started. These webinars that we do around integration partners for CompanyCam, we try to keep them pretty informal. There's plenty of opportunities, across the CompanyCam webinar series to go learn how to properly quote a roof or something like that. These we're mostly just trying to give you guys a high level of what our integration partners have built or what we've built, how those work, and then allow you guys to ask some questions. So I'll go ahead and get started with this. Today we have ServiceMinder.io on. They are a end-to-end CRM built largely for franchise level companies that have tons of locations across the United States, want to give them the tools that they need to run their business, but then also have the information at the high level of how everyone's doing across the industry. Today I got John on here. He's the founder of ServiceMinder. And I'm Mike Knott. I run platform partnerships over here at CompanyCam. So I work with people like John as they're building integrations and then doing internal training, and external training like this. So I'll let John introduce himself though, if he wants to tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, thanks. It's always excited to talk about new integrations. It's a big part of our strategy as well, is to make sure our stuff talks to what people want to talk to. So we've been around for about 10 years. And like Mike said, we focus on home services companies primarily in the franchise space. Sweet.
Cool. So the agenda today, just make sure everyone's familiar with what CompanyCam is, make sure everyone's familiar with what ServiceMinder is, and then I'll hand it off to John just to kind of riff for a little bit about how the integration functions. So if you guys don't know, CompanyCam is a field tool for contractors, largely around field documentation via photos and videos. The way we came about like 6 years ago now was from a roofing and exterior company in Lincoln, Nebraska. And the problem that they were running into that we quickly found out was a problem that a lot of other contractors and home service providers are running into, is they're asking their people to take a lot of photos out in the field for a bunch of different purposes, for liability protection, proof of work, internal communication, to augment how a job is actually going. Like, what does it mean to have a status, to have a job in active status, right? The problem is, regardless of where those photos ended up, most people out in the field, first and foremost, were taking photos locally on their phone. And then rather than getting to the place it needs to go, they all kind of just got stuck on their phone. Maybe somebody remembers the next day or a week later to upload photos, at which point, they've lost context. They don't really know what they're even looking at or where a photo should be going. So our insight was basically, if we can mirror that exact workflow, right? The experience of being on the iPhone with all the tools that an iPhone offers, but then do all of the work from the point of capture, organizing it by the job site, adding geolocations and timestamps, securing this to your CompanyCam account, your cloud-based CompanyCam account, and then adding all of the other relevant information, who took it, that sort of stuff. It would make it a lot easier for companies to actually utilize their photos, and it would save their people out in the field a lot of time. From the point of capture, everything is organized. And you have a suite of tools on top of that. So aside from just capturing and organizing it, we provide, every company that's using CompanyCam with a real-time feed of what the entire organization is doing. So not just a individual job site, but what if you're a project manager and you want to see what all of your people are doing across all of your job sites? What if you want to communicate around these photos? As these photos are coming in real time, you back in the office or other people out in the field, might spot something and want to add context to that through in-app, comments, mentions, annotating the photos. Beyond just internal communication, a lot of companies want to actually utilize those photos. So we have a suite of tools that actually allow you to take your photos, build out really robust photo reports, make before and after photos, and provide you with what we call galleries, but you could think of as essentially a customer portal, that allows you to very easily interface around what's going on a job site with either the homeowner or, the owner of a commercial building, for example. So that's kind of the unstructured capture side of things. That's where we come out of, which is basically we are the iPhone. It takes 3 seconds to train your people how to take photos with CompanyCam, and we take care of all of the rest of that. The thing that we've added more recently is the more structured capture side of things. So we think of CompanyCam primarily as an unstructured capture tool, but what we got a lot of feedback from our customers was, you guys have solved that piece of organizing and getting those photos to the people that need to see them, right? You've cut out a bunch of steps. So now we have more room to actually tell our people what to take photos of. So we've added a new suite of tools, which I kind of call our structured capture, but we call to-do lists. Essentially, you can build out custom templates that pertain to your company, your organization, and feed those to your people when they arrive on a job site. So you can go out, tell your people what to take photos of, and then build out really cool, easy PDF reports of that walkthrough. So capture photos, and then you have that output that you can deliver to a customer, that you could send off to an insurance adjuster if you're working with insurance, you're in restoration, for example, or if you just wanted to provide your customers with a checklist of the stuff that your service tech did out on the job site. So that's kind of the high level overview of CompanyCam. Take photos, all organized. You can tell your people what to take, and you have a bunch of outputs. The reason John's here today, though, is because the number one feature request that we get with a bullet is the request to have CompanyCam photo and video data in a company CRM. They say, okay, you provided us with a really easy to utilize package of information. Can I have that in my main organizing tool and my nervous system, right? And so that's kind of where John comes in, because ServiceMinder is that nervous system that people are wanting CompanyCam information in. So I'll hand it over to John now to riff a little bit about ServiceMinder, and then he can finish up talking a little bit about how CompanyCam and ServiceMinder work together now.
Cool, thanks, Mike. Yeah, so I guess one of the questions after that great lead in from Mike on what CompanyCam does, what does ServiceMinder do? Well, you kind of think of us as we do everything else. So
exactly. No, and I always point that out to anybody that's ever using CompanyCam. We don't schedule, we don't dispatch, we don't. Yep. All we do is capture data out in the field very effectively. Everything else is done by our integration partners.
Exactly. So yeah, so that's where we come in, is kind of the everything else part of the problem. Yeah, so we're basically a platform we describe it as managing and operating home services brands. So that includes both being able to allow a location to kind of execute their workflow, their business process, doing all those things, right? Scheduling and invoices and whatever. But then also being able to manage it at a brand level, right? So one of the things to keep in mind when you're looking at ServiceMinder and the capabilities is that we're not only enabling a brand to kind of coordinate all that top to bottom, but also rolling all that data up. So, and a big part of what we do with that is not only kind of the data and the workflow, but also the client experience, right? Letting them know you're coming, here's your proposal, right? All of those things are a big part of that. So in fact, that was kind of our early focus early on, where as Mike said, we want to get photos off phones into the cloud. Our early focus is on, we wanted to allow a smaller contractors to create a really good client experience, to let them present bigger than they were. Mm-hmm. Yeah, next slide. So we've kind of talked about, what all falls in that bucket of everything else, right? So obviously kind of tracking and organizing and managing all that customer data. And we'll talk a little bit as we get a little further in, kind of how the CompanyCam data fits into that structure. But, you can imagine you've got, customers, you've got proposals, invoices, whatever, right? So we can help you manage and track all of those elements in an organized fashion. And again, provide visibility to all of that at the brand level as well. Scheduling appointments is a key part of what we do as well as all the communications around those appointments, right? Send a text message to the client when you're on the way. Send them a confirmation message by text or email. even the act of scheduling, right? You can do the scheduling yourself if you answer the phone, but we also have integrations with call centers, right? So you could outsource the appointment booking process to somebody else that talks to ServiceMinder. We have a nice list of companies that do that. So you can kind of hand off the scheduling to somebody else. So you can be out in the field doing stuff and they'll just answer your phone. They'll throw the appointments straight onto ServiceMinder using the scheduling constraints that you define inside ServiceMinder. Kind of all works automatically. Delivering the proposals to the clients and invoices, right? That whole client experience, letting them see, pictures of what you're going to do, right? This is kind of the lead in to what we're going to talk about in a minute, to allow the client to really see the context of what it is that you're pitching that they need to get done. We also support things like options and online payments so they can decide what their budget's going to be. Maybe you've got some stuff that, hey, you got to fix these core things first. These are some other things you might want to do. Like you can document, include all that. It's a nice kind of shopping cart experience for the client to be able to choose what they want. Tracking campaigns and all that, as well as optimizing and scheduling the technicians so that we can make sure that they're minimizing the drive time, right? Keep that windshield time to a minimum by scheduling stuff close to other appointments, kind of all of that stuff as well. So yeah, next slide.
Cool.
So we often talk about the home services production pipeline. That's what we call that on this slide, but what does that process look like and where does ServiceMinder fit into all of these spaces? And that's essentially what we're trying to do is basically optimize this entire process. So step one, making the phone ring, right? You're running ads, you got a website, maybe you get leads from third-party lead gen sources, right? All those lead sources, all those lead activities can flow directly into ServiceMinder. We can push those leads out to a call center so they can initiate outbound calls immediately. We have marketing automation tools to kind of, nurture them along to get them to the point where they're ready to actually schedule an appointment. But we're tracking where all those come from, right? So lead sources, how much did you spend to get those leads? That's a key part of kind of optimizing your funnel. It's not only making the phone ring, but make the phone ring cost effectively. Scheduling is obviously a key part of that. Whether they schedule online, go to a call center, talk to somebody in your office, right? We help facilitate not only scheduling and trying to make that schedule or the route that you're building as efficient as possible, but we're also providing communication to the client, right? Giving them a confirmation so that they know when they're coming. You can even include a link in there that says, hey, can you please click this to confirm that you got it, right? So you would even know a day ahead of time who confirmed and who didn't, just by visually inspecting. Reminders, all that stuff. And then when you're on the way, using our app, you can say, hey, I'm leaving the warehouse, or I'm leaving my last customer. It'll automatically communicate with them and let them know that you're on the way. The next step then is to, once you get there and do the estimate, right, a walkthrough, whether it's a roof job or kitchen or outdoor construction or painting, contracting or whatever, right, you can capture data about that, create a proposal, deliver that to the client to review. That can include, again, those pictures, gives them options to choose what they want to do to kind of match the budget they're looking for. Then you sit and wait for them to call you back. Hopefully they sign on the spot, but maybe they don't. So again, there's tools to drive them back to you, right? Reminders and ways to generate demand back from people who didn't convert on the initial visits. But when they do, now you can schedule a job, send the guys out, go do all the work. They have access again to all the things that you've captured about that customer so far, right? All the previous visits, all the pictures, all the notes, everything is visible to the guys doing the work. And when they're done, it can make an invoice, prompt the customer for payment, or take payment in the field, get paid. And then all that data can flow through seamlessly, not only to QuickBooks Online for all your accounting stuff, but also for brands that do royalties based on sales, invoices, payments, whatever, right? We're tracking all that data and being able to complete that process as well. And now you're at the rinse repeat stage. And so essentially, those are the steps we go through with ServiceMinder. ServiceMinder kind of manages and facilitates all of those. And we spend a considerable amount of our time and effort trying to make that flow as seamlessly as possible for your particular workflow. So let's look at how things plug up. So inside ServiceMinder, that's where you initiate the connection. So step one is if you don't already have a CompanyCam account, go get one. That's definitely step one. And once you have your CompanyCam account, then you can go into ServiceMinder. If you don't have a ServiceMinder account, then go get one of those too. And then inside ServiceMinder, all the setting stuff is in an area called Control Panel. So you're going to go to Control Panel, and then you're going to go to Integrations, and then go to the other tab, which is where all the cool stuff is. Scroll down to CompanyCam and say, I want to connect to CompanyCam. So you click that link. You'll then be prompted to sign into CompanyCam. That basically gives us permission to talk to CompanyCam on your behalf. And that will then allow us to start getting notified when pictures happen inside the CompanyCam site. So one of the things that CompanyCam does to kind of group and organize all the pictures together is they have this concept called projects, and projects have a location and a naming convention. So once you've connected, you can then go back and modify the settings inside ServiceMinder to specify how do you want to name those projects inside CompanyCam. So you can name them based on the customer's name or the customer's address or any combinations on our side. That gets triggered by when the technician hits start on the appointment. We'll go look and see if a project already exists. And if it doesn't, we'll go create it inside CompanyCam. That'll get tagged with your location. Then when you switch over to the CompanyCam app and start taking photos or videos, those two streams are now connected together with that customer on ServiceMinder and on CompanyCam, and using whatever naming convention you want. And we have a pretty comprehensive mechanism for accessing customer data in these short codes. So if you don't want name and a magic number, right, you can change that to pretty much anything you want to do that. So yeah. Next slide. So while you're at the field taking pictures, taking videos, doing whatever, then those are going to get sent over to ServiceMinder kind of in the background. We're going to go look at those pictures. We're going to look at if there's a project attached to those pictures when they come over to us, then we're going to go find them and attach them to the right contact. But more importantly, we'll actually tie those to the exact appointment that they're at, right? So inside ServiceMinder, we can attach pictures and content to proposals and appointments and contacts. So if the technician who took the picture is on an active appointment inside ServiceMinder, then that data will get attached to that appointment inside ServiceMinder automatically. And so one of the requests we get from customers all the time is want more rich content, more pictures, more video. And so this is an example of what a video would look like inside ServiceMinder once it's been added. There's a videos tab on the contact details page or the appointment details page. Just click on that, and then there will be all the videos. Click to play, and you can see all the video in its full CompanyCam glory right there inside ServiceMinder.
Yeah, and this is by far like the most popular, I think, software stack that we have, right? Is the scheduling, dispatching, reporting engine that you have that has the idea of like a client or a job or an appointment, and that is like, that's what people use to run their whole business, right?
Yep.
But what people like about CompanyCam is the simplicity of that workflow of opening up CompanyCam, taking photos, and everything else being done. And what ServiceMinder's done is even like a little bit more complex than a lot of people, because they're actually capturing the geotags and organizing them according to the appointment. So the whole workflow to capture as much photo data, as much video as you need to, is literally just to walk out to a job site, open up CompanyCam. That project will be there for you already because ServiceMinder will have created it. Your people take 100 photos, bunch of videos, whatever they need to do, and all of that syncs automatically, and then is available in CompanyCam to utilize for photo reporting, and available in ServiceMinder to add to proposals, or if nothing else, just to confirm that the work is being done appropriately, right?
So you've got, the benefit of attaching them to the appointments is if you don't remember the date, right? If a customer calls up and says, hey, you guys weren't here last Thursday or whatever, right? So you can, if it's the office staff, maybe they're not in CompanyCam all day, the field staff are, right? Now having the data in one place, that person who answers the phone can find the customer, go find the appointment they were there, and they can find the video and say, hey, here's video of the guys, destroying your front yard. Sorry about that.
Or hopefully not. But that's like the beauty of like, really powerful, really clean integrations that are putting the correct information where it needs to be. Is like, you as a business organization, right? You're going to have different people in different roles utilizing different software at different times. So having that consistency of data in the right place is the key to a good, strong integration. And I think you guys knocked it out of the park with this one.
Awesome. Thanks.
Cool. Well, we'll open it up for questions now. I'll go ahead and launch a quick poll too. I know we have a decent chunk of CompanyCam users on here. We have a decent chunk of ServiceMinder users on here, and then we have some people that are utilizing both. So if you guys need help setting up the integration, or you're interested in the other two, go ahead and click here. We'll send you an email. We'll wait on that for a little bit. Okay.
I was going to toss out also, if you capture data in CompanyCam and you don't have an open appointment, like if you just happen to drive by and take some pictures, we'll go find the closest contact that matches those locations. Or if the contact already has a project already created, right? Those pictures will still get synced over, right? They just won't get attached to an appointment if you don't have an open, active appointment.
Cool. Well, we have some questions here. Christian, I don't know if you want to hand pick a couple ones that we've seen as they've gone through.
Yeah, so Charles is curious, is the best practice to create the client in ServiceMinder first?
That's what we would recommend, because that's typically going to be your flow, right? They're going to call in, you're going to schedule an appointment to go there. You're probably going to do all of that inside ServiceMinder, right? Send a confirmation from ServiceMinder to the client, so that then when you get there, you've kind of already got all that initial data captured. And then with the integration, right, as soon as you say, hey, I'm here, and you clock into the appointment, now the project gets created, and then you switch over to CompanyCam and you're off to the races. So yeah, I definitely recommend driving that from the ServiceMinder side first.
Yeah, and like John said, that'll be like intuitive and natural, right? Like you're not utilizing CompanyCam, like on that, the initial CompanyCam until you're out on that job site for the first time. Like so much of the data that you're capturing, that's doing, like creating the project in CompanyCam, is going to be done in ServiceMinder. Yeah,
and the technician that's going to be there, right? He's not the one taking the phone call. Well, I mean, maybe in a smaller company, right? But he's just the guy going there to look at the thing, to do the quote, to fix the thing, right? He's just going where he was sent to. And so, ServiceMinder will take care of kind of all that leading up to activity.
Yeah. What is cool is that, that stopgap, that or that alternative flow that you built, John, where it's like, if for some reason your technician goes out to, gets an appointment scheduled, forgets to hit like started or something like that.
Yep.
Over to CompanyCam and starts taking photos. Then when he goes back and is like, oh shoot, I need to start this appointment. ServiceMinder is still going to know to pull all that data in there.
Exactly.
So there's not a lot of like potential for like data leakage, with the workflows that you guys have built, which is really awesome.
Yeah. So we take the location data that you send us with the pictures, right? And we go say, okay, well, we don't have an appointment for this picture, but this is the closest contact. It's only 100 feet away. It's probably this contact. So we just attach the stuff there. Yeah.
Yep. Cool.
Got another one here from Eric. Can we have multiple techs taking pictures on the same project, but only one has checked into the ServiceMinder job?
That's a good question. I think right now, well, so if those technicians are attached to that appointment, so ServiceMinder has the ability to have like a primary technician and then additional technicians. I think the way it is right now, as long as those additional technicians are attached to the appointment, it'll still work as we expect. If they're not, then it may put those pictures on the contact, but we could certainly, it'd be a good inquiry to send over to support.
Yeah, let's investigate. My intuitive guess would be, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but in CompanyCam, like you could have 4 techs out on a job site or something like that. All of that photo data, right, is organizing to that project based on the user. So then just by having that channel open, even if like there was 3 people out taking photos and only 1 person scheduled to the job, you would still be consuming all of that photo data.
Yeah, the data will definitely still come in and still get attached to the customer. It just may not get attached to that appointment.
Yep. Okay. Perfect.
Right. But if you want it to get attached to the appointment, then those guys will probably need to be scheduled for that job, just so we know that they're there.
Okay.
On that job. But otherwise, yeah, I think it would kind of work as expected.
Cool. Got another one from Dan. What about an existing large bunch of past photos that we want to import or bring in? Is that doable?
For whom?
For probably like a CompanyCam company wanting to take a look at ServiceMinder.
Oh, yeah. So if you have CompanyCam photos and you want to get them to ServiceMinder, that's a great question. So we on the back end, we have the ability to kind of, especially when we're onboarding brands, we do this quite a bit, where they already have a bunch of exhaustive photo library. So we have ways to kind of bulk import all that stuff, if provided that we have a way to kind of figure out, again, which customer the pictures go with. But yeah, we can load in, zip files, by location, where, the zip file has, one folder for each service address, and then inside that folder is a bunch of pictures. So yeah, we have ways to load all that picture data in on the back end. So that's a support ticket kind of thing. Or if you're in the process of onboarding, you can talk to Leah, most likely, who does kind of all the onboarding for all of our brands. She heads all that up, so she'd be able to kind of help guide you in terms of what we would need to be able to do that. If you have stuff already in CompanyCam, maybe Mike and I can talk and figure that out. I'm sure where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, certainly.
Well, I got one more for you, Mike. Is there an additional fee to using CompanyCam?
Yep. So it's a standard pricing model. We have a monthly plan. It's per user. It's $19 per user for unlimited photo, video storage, unlimited everything, and the integration's free. We also have an annual plan, which is $16 a user. So if you have 12 technicians that you're like, these people are going to be here year round, probably the better option. We do provide any service minder, a location that wants to test out CompanyCam with 2 months at 50% off. So basically like a free month to field test the integration. Yeah, so that's what I would say. Cool. I have a question for you, John, before we kick off. 2 questions, honestly. Are you generally setting up, you were showing that workflow, hey, this is how we manage your pipeline. Is that set up more at the top down franchise, at the org level, or are individual franchise locations able to adjust that workflow, or what's that look like?
Yeah, it's a great question. So some of that kind of depends on kind of what the brand wants to do.
Yep.
So when we sell, right, typically a brand, as a unit will standardize on service minder. So all the locations, will typically use service minder. So the brand will kind of work out what that workflow is like. And then depending on permissions and how flexible they want, users can certainly take advantage of alternate workflows. There's definitely things that can be turned on and off for different accounts. Hey, we don't do this in our city or territory or whatever. Or I want to have more flexible control, right? There's a ton of kind of configurability to service minder. And while an individual user may not be able to have permission to make some of those changes, like on the brand side or our side, they can certainly make those changes for locations to enable alternate behaviors or alternate workflows. So there's essentially one version of service minder, all the brands and all the industries that use our platform. They're all using the same version. So that means there's got to be a lot of checkboxes and drop downs to kind of enable kind of all the different types of options and workflows, as well as a lot of configurable type stuff, like the drips for automation tools and templates and all that stuff. So yeah, a lot of times the brands will standardize all that to get started, and then franchisees will go in and kind of make tweaks and changes to allow them to kind of work in their particular environment the way they want to, or localize content, right, based on local regulations or license numbers and presentation of that stuff as well.
Gotcha. And then does that adjust the kind of reporting on KPIs that you guys deal with? Then are you able to account for that if certain brands are hey, we don't we're a restoration and remodeling franchise, we in our location mostly doing remodeling, able to track and factor in for that?
Yeah, a big part of kind of how service minder works is this concept of what we call a service, which is kind of the label for the thing, right? What kind of appointment is it? What kind of work is being done? And so brands use that as kind of their aggregation or roll-up tool, right? So how much do we do in disaster recovery versus how much do we do in water damage versus how much do we do in fire damage, right? So depending on the types of jobs that people are running, all of that data can roll up to the brand level as well, so they can see that mix. And if you're in a location where, maybe you never have fire, or you're in the desert, so you never have water problems or whatever, right? Then you just may not do any of those jobs. And so, that would reflect in your stats, but, the brand would be able to see kind of both the brand level mix, as well as the location level mix, and can share, those stats back and forth, right? So here's what the average water job is. Here's what's the average, disaster recovery job. Here's what the average, meth lab cleanup job is, whatever.
In New Mexico,
In New
primarily.
Mexico, yeah, primarily in the Albuquerque area.
Well, cool. I think
I got
that's
one more question. Sorry.
yeah.
Is there a snippet limit in CompanyCam? They said they keep losing them and they have to manually input.
What do you like explain snippet more? Are you referencing like the text snippets that you can like build and then attach to the comment section?
Yep. He says 4 reports.
For reports, I don't think that there's a text snippet limit. Sometimes people will forget to like save their text snippets for like company-wide use. If you have any issue around that though, like support at companycam.com can sort through anything on that side. Or you can, I'm sure you've gotten like 4 or 5 emails from your customer success representative. They'd be happy to assist you as well.
Yeah, definitely. If you have questions on our side, hit us up at support@serviceminder.io.
What's the best place to go if a CompanyCam company is interested in looking at ServiceMinder?
Yeah, so #1 search term for ServiceMinder is ServiceMinder. So Google that, but go to serviceminder.com, .io, .whatever, so we'll have some information on there. But primarily, book a demo. Those are more like a discovery session, right? So we're going to try to learn, understand, what your brand needs are, and if we'd be a good fit for your workflow or not. If you're not, we'll definitely tell you. But if you are, then we'll kind of continue that journey to learn more about your brand. It's a very engaging process, right? We'll never know your brand as well as you do, but we want to understand it so we can try to help kind of solve the problems you might have. So definitely book a discovery session. They're about an hour long typically, and highly interactive. We can show you interesting stuff and answer questions, and obviously we'll ask a bunch of questions as well.
Yeah, I don't really think there's any industries that you guys aren't like used to though, or like that don't work. Just from seeing like the stuff that you guys work with, you're kind of all over the place, like lawn and landscaping, cleaning, restoration.
Yep.
I don't know, like if you're looking to scale, if you have a bunch of people using disparate CRMs across your space, like
one of the best things about a brand that standardizes on ServiceMinder, even if they come from an environment where they've been using several different tools or don't have a requirement of using specific tools, getting all the data in one place is just a really eye-opening experience of things that you can do, right? So in a brand, typically you may not have visibility into what's going on until you get the month-end reports from all the franchisees like a month later, right? Inside ServiceMinder, you can see real-time, revenue by category, by location across the system, lead production, conversion rates, right? All that stuff is live in real time, and everybody's using the same system, following the same conventions, right? So all the KPIs mean the same thing. You don't have to translate what a win from one platform means to a win in another platform, right? It's
right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, consistency wins championships. So
yeah. Well, cool. I'll drop if you guys, anyone over there, it's a ServiceMinder user looking to test out CompanyCam. You can just hit our general page if you want to, or you can go to companycam.com/ServiceMinder. That's the branded page between both of us. That'll like give you the tutorial and also allow you to like schedule a demo or set up a trial account. And that's also where you'll get your 2 months at 50% off to field test as well.
Yeah, or if you're already in ServiceMinder, right, there's this is already live. I think we announced it last weekend. So go to the control panel integrations page, and you can find the links there as well. And we'll also have a marketplace listing inside ServiceMinder to get you directly accessed over to the right link on the CompanyCam side. So yeah.
Sweet. Hey guys, thanks for joining us. Like I said, I always try to end these a little early so that I can go to lunch. We'll leave it there. We'll send you, anyone that attended, we'll send you a recording of this demo this webinar we went through with some links as well. So yeah, hit us up on the replies if you have any questions. But if nothing else, no other questions. John, thanks for joining us. Thanks for building a really cool, powerful integration between CompanyCam and ServiceMinder.
Yeah, thanks for I don't know how we connected. I guess we had some common customers who said, hey, you guys should talk. So I'm glad we got to. So yeah, it's cool. Yeah, good to hang out with you.
Yeah, you
Go
too.
get
man.
lunch. Yeah,
I will.
take care.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Yep.